Hello everyone, welcome to this PnP Shorts video. The topic of today is the Visio Web Access Deprecation Scanner. My name is Bert Janssen, I'm a Senior Service Engineer in the Microsoft SharePoint and OneDrive organization. And today I have a guest joining me, Rahul Mittal. So Rahul, can you quickly introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I am Rahul and I am a program manager in Microsoft. I am in part of Microsoft Visio, which is an Office organization.
Thank you, Rahul. So let's dive into the topic and talk a bit about Visio Online.
So what Visio Online is the latest and greatest of Visio. Visio Desktop was there for a lot of years, and now we have released Visio Online. There is nothing to install. Users can quickly get started on the web. They can use any browser of their choice and quickly make professional diagrams such as flowcharts, network diagrams, and they can easily share with their teams, receive feedback on those, and collaborate such that everyone is in their organization, in their team, is on the same page. With Visio Online, we are looking to move away from the Visio Web Access, which was the earlier service. So Visio Online has a modern UI. It has many performance and reliability improvements and over Visio Web Access. And now we have added more capabilities, like it has higher fidelity. There are capabilities, you can find anything in your drawing. And one of the important things that Visio Online brings is that it is accessible to everyone. Apart from that, there is viewing capability for VSD files as well, which was not there in Visio Web Access.
That's a good thing.
Right. In terms of JavaScript APIs capability, which allowed people to build mashup solutions with Visio Web Access, with Visio Online, we have all the goodness of the APIs, and we have gone beyond. So there are additional APIs which allows you to do more things as compared to existing Visio Web Access APIs. And now, as Visio Online supports creation and editing capabilities, which was not there earlier, we see that in future we will provide the APIs for these capabilities as well. So Visio Online is the way to go. So with all the goodness from Visio Online, we are now recommending our customers to move away from Visio Web Access and start using Visio Online. The way to do that is migrate your existing Visio web drawing files, also called VDW files, to work with Visio Online. And for your existing Visio Web Access web parts that are embedded in your SharePoint pages, there are two ways to go forward. For modern SharePoint pages, you can use the new file viewer web part, which renders Visio Online. For classic SharePoint pages, you can use script editor web part for embedding Visio Online in an iframe, and you can build the rich mashup solutions using the new JavaScript APIs. The details are part of the blog, and the link to which is mentioned here, and also some of this will be talked about Bert in the session later to identify how you can get started with these.
Yes, absolutely. So we cover a bit more details later on, especially how to discover these VDW files and Visio Web Access web parts. Now, Rahul, I do have one question. So we're talking about a deprecation. A deprecation typically has a timeline. So can you tell us more around when these things are deprecated, by when customers need to have done this transformation?
So the deprecation timeline is for September this year. So by September 30th, 2018 is when we are expecting our customers to move to Visio Online, and Visio Web Access and APIs will not work thereafter.
Okay. So there's a clear date, end of September 2018. Customers need to be ready with this. Great. Now, if we learn now a bit more around what is Visio Online and what are we deprecating, you might ask yourself the question, like, okay, I need to fix my Visio Web Access web parts and use it like a script editor web part on a classic page, for example. But where do these web parts live? Like, I have 10,000s of site collections with 100,000s of pages. I can't just go manually and run over these pages and find out where they live. And to help you with that question, we created what we call the Visio Web Access Scanner, which you can find using https://aks.ms/sppnp-visio scanner. Now, this scanner is a tool, a command line tool, that you can run and that will scan your complete tenant and will create your reports around the use of Visio web drawing files, because you have to save them as a different format. And it will also give you all the details around the pages that host Visio Web Access web parts. Now, how to run the scanner? If you're familiar with PnP scanners from the past, it's kind of always the same pattern. So you grab the scanner, which is .exe, from the link ak.ms/sppnp-visio scanner. Once you have it, you need to grant the scanner access to your tenant. So the scanner needs to be able to read each and every site collection in your tenant, otherwise it can't find information it needs. And the recommended approach is using app-only. App-only requires a principal which you can create using app-rec-new and app-inf. We're not going to show this in the demo how to do this exactly, but there is detailed documentation listing all the individual steps needed to create your app-only principal that you can use for the scanner. Once you have that principal, it's a matter of just calling the scanner on command line, providing your tenant and your client ID and client secret, which is your app principal actually, and just run it like below here in the green box where you see like an example of a command line. Now, this is always easier to just show things in practice in real life. So let's flip to a quick demo. So I'm going to go to first of all to my browser. I want to show you the place where you can get the actual scanner. So if I zoom in over here, you see this is the location that the AKMS URL gets you to. So it's under the PnP tools repository. There is like a page, a README page for the Visio scanner. And this page gives you a kind of summary of what it is and what you need to do to set it up. So it will tell you what the tool is for, finding the Visio web drawing files, looking for the web parts, etc., like we discussed. You can download the latest version of the tool. So if you click on this link, you will download the zip file which contains a .exe. And it's important, it will tell you how to get started. So here you see there's links to instructions on how to configure the tool to use a SharePoint app only or Azure AD app only. So let's take, for example, this granting access via, let's take this one, granting access via SharePoint app only. It will give you all the details that you need to follow, all the steps to configure the app only principle and then use it. So should be fairly trivial to do this based on this documentation. If you prefer an Azure AD app only principle, which requires a certificate, you can do as well. The tool does support both options, and again, there is detailed documentation on how to configure access using an Azure AD app only solution. Furthermore, this documentation tells you how to run the scanner, gives you information about the output, and then gives details on the actual reports that are generated. Now, we are going to look at these details in the demo itself, but in this documentation you have all the details around what it means. Some things I want to spell out before we actually run into the actual demo is that if you're using SharePoint Online dedicated, like dvnext, then the command line that you have to use is slightly different, because you have to specify your tenant admin site and a set of URLs to scan, like what we call wildcard URLs. So for example, if I zoom in a little bit, you see here that in this case, my tenant admin center URL would be contoso-admin.contoso.com. And I want to scan the following URLs. So everything underneath teams.contoso.com/site/star and everything underneath portal.contoso.com/star. So that's important for you if you're a dvnext customer. All right, with that being said, let's flip to the tool. So I have a command prompt here where I downloaded the scanner already. So let's do an ls. So you see here there is the SharePoint.visio.scanner.exe listed. And we can run this guy. So I can say SharePoint.visio.scanner.exe. And if I hit enter, I get information around how to run the tool. So it will tell you sample command line for either using app only or using Azure AD app only, and it will give you information about all the individual command line options that are available. Now in our case, let's run the tool. We need to have a tenant, so I'm testing this against a regular multi-tenant SharePoint Online environment. So I specify my tenant name, which is Word Online. And then I'm going to specify my app-only principal. I'm going to copy that because it is slightly hard to type all of this. So you see the client ID and the secret being listed here. And if I hit enter now, the scanner should get started. It will first use search to find all the Visio Web database files, web drawing files, and then it will start iterating across all the individual site collections, and for each site collection, for each site, it will check the site pages library, it will check the site assets library for wiki pages and web art pages that might contain the Visio Web Access web art. Unfortunately, we have to read all those pages and look inside the page in order to find the web art. So there is no easy way to just simply get all the web arts in a quick one way. In the end, it's not really a problem. It works, just takes a bit of time. So when you run the scanner, expect run times running into the hours, even maybe more than one day if you have a very large tenant. But don't worry, leave it running, and in the very end, it will just dump all the results, and you should be good. This guy is running, and we're not going to wait for the very end of this one. So to speed up things, I already ran the scanner just before this call. And what it does, it will, when you run it, it creates an output folder based on a timestamp. So you never overwrite the results of the scan. And inside this output folder, you will get 4 files. You will get the Visio web drawing files result, so a list of all the Visio web drawings, a file containing the web parts information, and then there is like 2 supporting files. That's a scanner summary, to tell you how long it ran, which version was used, etc. And if there are errors found, like a site is not accessible or a site is locked, whatever, these will be logged in the errors file. Now in our case, we are interested in the actual results, which is the Visio web drawing result here. So let's open up this one in Excel. And let's maximize my Excel. Come on. Let's make it a table so it's nicer to view, like this and like this. So, it opened up everything in, it's a comma separator, okay. So the default run gives you a comma separated set of values. So when I just imported in European Excel, so I see this is one line. I'll do it different in the next import. But essentially, this one is showing you all the site collection URLs, all the site URLs, and the path to all the Visio web drawing files, so the VDW files. So based on this report, you can then go to these locations and open the file and save it as a VSD file, for example, a VSDX file, which is then compatible with Visio Online afterwards. Okay, let's open up the other output file. So now I'm going to use a slightly different approach. So I'm going to go data from text. Demo with Visio. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take the web part results, import. and load. This way I kind of circumvent the comma problem, and I get a nice table to start with. So this is the second report, showing the web part results. So what you get out of this one is again one row per page having a Visio web part. In this case, the pages are under these URLs, so you get a page URL. If you scroll to the right, what else is interesting? You get usage information around the page. So you get these columns. They give you information around how actively is this page used. Might be useful to assess whether you want to actually fix the page or not, because pages which are not used for a long time are probably not business relevant, and you can maybe just leave them as is. It's up to you to decide, but you get the supporting information. Then we come to the actual important information here. If there is a Visio Web Access web part found, it will list all the Visio Web Access web parts on the page. So remember, a SharePoint web part page or wiki page can have multiple web parts, so it can have multiple Visio Web Access web parts, and each web part is listed with a type, title, and then actual web part data. So if I make this a little bigger and zoom into the web part data like this, you see, for example, that this web part is loading the file called drawing1.vsdx from this particular document library. This gives you information around which file is being loaded, so you can then later on load the same file in the alternative solution based on the script editor web part on the classic page, or if you would migrate this complete page to a modern client-side page, you know which file to use in your web part. Also, all the other settings that from the Visio Web Access web part are listed in here. So if you want to reuse those settings, you can fetch them from this report. With this, I think we can wrap up this short PnP video. Remember, end date of this application is end of September 2018. So let's get started with this. Thanks for listening in and for watching this video.